Alright guys, this is proof that a maintenance guy at the library isn't the glamorous job y'all thought it was. Anyway, this is one of the calls that I get called on quite frequently. As you can see, we've got a urinal here that just won't quit running. So, my first step is going to be to shut the water off here, working with one hand. There we go, the water's shut off. Now I'm going to set y'all up on the tripod while I finish this. I'm going to rebuild all of this up in here. There's a diaphragm in here. And we've got a vacuum breaker right here. So anyway, I'm going to rebuild all this. I'll set you up on the tripod so you guys can watch. Alright, here's everything you're going to need to complete the job of rebuilding a water closet flushometer. Got a pair of channel locks here. These are just cheap knockoff channel locks, Harbor Freight. I don't know, I think I got these set of 4 of them for like $9.99 or something. All 4 different sizes. Got your monkey wrench, aka a pipe wrench. A number 2 slotted. Of course, my trusty 5-in-1 tool. This I carry on me at all times, along with my knife. This thing comes in so handy. There's 3 things that I'm never without on the job. Number 1 is my 5-in-1. Number 2 is my utility knife. And number 3, my Bubba mug. But anyway, then you're also going to need your flushometer rebuild kit. This kit comes with everything you need to rebuild one of these flushometers. See how well I can get it in focus here. Okay, part C there is your vacuum breaker. Comes with 3 parts. It's got a rubber vacuum breaker, a plastic like a 3-way type funnel thing, and then a gasket. Your flush handle kit comes with a piston, a spring, a cap, a rubber seal, and then a gasket. And then the diaphragm just comes with the diaphragm piece there, and then it's got a piston that goes down through it. Anyway, the vacuum breaker comes in the bag. It's got all 3 pieces in there. your rubber, your plastic funnel, and then the gasket. Same way with the handle kit. Comes everything you need, the spring, the piston, and the gasket. Also in that box, here's the diaphragm piece and the plunger that goes down through. And then it also comes with an O-ring in the box. Okay, let's show you how to rebuild one of these things. Alright, I'm here at my workbench. So there's a couple of things that you saw me do in the sped up video that you won't see here. Of course, number one, you saw me shut off the water. The line comes out here and there's a water shut off right here. So yeah, we're laying on my workbench. You're going to have to imagine this is the wall. Actually, this thing sits vertically, but it'd be real hard to show you how to do it. So I've got it laying down. Like I said, you're going to have to imagine this is the wall and not the top of my workbench. You're also going to have to imagine that this is a flush handle. I grabbed the wrong one from work to bring home and make this video. And this one is set up for one of the automatic electronic eye flusher type systems. Touchless, whatever you want to call it. But anyway, I can still show you on this one. And the other thing that I do in that sped up version, I use Teflon tape on the threads of the joints, and not so much to prevent leaks, because all the O-rings and everything included in the kit, the O-rings and the gaskets will prevent the leaks just fine. I like to use Teflon tape kind of like an anti-seize, if you want to say it like that. It makes it easier next time that we have to rebuild one of these to get it apart. If you've got the Teflon tape on the threads, it's just helps against corrosion and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, I'm not going to show you the Teflon tape here. I will just tell you the one hint on Teflon tape is make sure you wrap it with the threads, so that when you're putting your nut on, you're not trying to pull your Teflon tape off. You want to wrap the tape in the threads in the same direction that you'll be putting your nut on. Remember the righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Another thing I'd like to point out are the captive nuts. These have a couple of captive nuts on them. One right here and one right here. You need to take note of which side those captive nuts are on, because you got to figure when you've got a pipe coming out right here and you look at it straight on, you really can't tell whether that captive nut is attached to this side or this side. And that makes a big difference when it comes to your righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. And in this case, of course, it's attached on this side here. You can tell because it's got the lip that goes right up against the pipe there. If you look, you can see where the lip is on this side, no lip on this side. So anyway, once you take this, once you get your water shut off, you're going to want to take this nut apart. You're going to want to remove this nut here, which your vacuum breaker's right here. And once you get that all apart, again, this is a captive nut. So you have to know that it's attached to the bottom side here and not the top side. And I told you one of the tools you may need is a pipe wrench. A lot of times I don't even have to use the pipe wrench doing this. A lot of times just these channel locks will do it. And once you break that loose, oh yeah, look at that gasket. Yeah, this thing was definitely in need of a rebuild. There's the vacuum breaker. Now this piece here will stay attached to the toilet or the urinal, just like that. Actually, you know, since we're pretending this is the wall, it would be like this. But yeah, this part here would stay attached to your toilet or your urinal. And then there's your vacuum breaker right there. And I'll show you how to replace the vacuum breaker. And this is where I use my knife. Comes in real handy for opening these little bags. Anyway, guys, this is about the simplest part of the job. You just take your vacuum breaker, the rubber piece, make sure that that plastic piece is inserted inside that. There's a little lip in there where that plastic piece rides. And then, of course, your cardboard gasket goes on top of that. And then it just sits right down in there. Of course, your captive nut. And like I said, this stays attached to the toilet. So you can do this and just leave this sitting right there while you take this piece back to your shop or whatever you'd like to do. I just do it right there. But anyway, once you get this piece off, the next step you want to do is take your flush handle off. Again, it's, I don't know if you want to call it a captive nut or not, but it is captive to this side. So you pull that off, and inside there, yeah, and watch out, because that spring will shoot things. But anyway, that's how that looks inside there. Again, the ones with the handle, the flush handle is just a little bit different. Like I said, this one here is for the electronic flush mechanism. So it's a little different. What you'll have on these, you'll have your piston that goes in like that. Actually, here I'll show you what the... I mean, it's a little different, like I said, because with the flush handle, it's going to be a hair different. But anyway, it goes in like that. Your spring goes in. Then your cap goes on, and this cap isn't quite going to fit this one because, like I said, it's a hair different, but that's the basic gist of it. Your rubber piece goes on over that, and then, of course, your gasket's going to go on to the joint there. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and throw this back together. Yeah, once you get all that on your gasket and everything, you just stick that back together. Again, the Teflon tape is optional. I just do it so that next time it's easier to rebuild. Next thing to do is loosen the cap here with your channel locks. Again, if you need to, you can use the pipe wrench and hook on here to hold it. Like I said, I very rarely need it. And then this here, again, very simple, guys. You're going to pull that cap off. You're going to save this because the new kit does not come with that plastic cap. And then, using either your utility knife, which is what I usually use, or your trusty 5-in-1 tool. You pop this old one out, and it just pulls out like that. And the new one goes in. If you'll notice, it's got little teeth on it, so you kind of got to sometimes turn it to get it to seat down in there. Put the cap back on. Put this back on. Again, you can Teflon tape these threads if you'd like. Just remember to wrap your Teflon tape clockwise so that when you put the cap on, it's not trying to pull your Teflon tape off. And then the last thing to replace is this O-ring here. To get that out, I always just use my utility knife and Sometimes it'll cut, sometimes it'll just slip right off like it did there. And you take your new O-ring and just slip it right around that lip. And then you just take this back to your restroom, or if you're already in the restroom, whatever, you just throw it all back together. Now sometimes that cardboard gasket's kind of a pain in the neck to get on the threads there. But anyway, then you just connect this back up, connect this back to your toilet, and you're all done. Good to go. Test her out a couple times, make sure it flushes. Of course, you got to turn your water back on first, but check for leaks, all that good stuff. Again, guys, this is like a 10-15 minute job. Super simple, way easier to work on a commercial toilet than it is a residential one. And there we go. My tools and the old parts in the box there are still laying on the ground. I'll pick up my mess. And of course my Teflon tape still sitting there. But anyway, all done. About 15 minutes is what it took me. Anyway, there you go. Just in case you guys were wondering how that's done, now you know. Yeah, you're looking at probably a minimum of an hour to rebuild a residential toilet. Or the tank flush mechanism on a residential toilet. Whereas in a commercial, I mean, this is just so much simpler. I mean, because you can shut the water off here, then you don't have any mess or anything. Everything you need to rebuild is right here. Basically a brand new toilet, brand new urinal, whatever you got. And anyway, these are, I've worked in several commercial buildings, and I've never worked in a commercial building that did not have this type of flushometer. You'll find these in just about every commercial building there is. They're just kind of a standard deal, easy to rebuild. Anyway, I hope you guys learned something from this. I hope this helped you out. Y'all have a good one.